Hello there, everybody, and for another comic book review, since it's been a bit, I'm here to review DC's Blackest Night. So I think this came out around 2009, and it was written by legendary comic book writer Jeff Johns, Ivan Reeves, Oscar Albert, and Joe Peratt. So this comic book is really good for the Green Lantern lore. It finally explores the various tribes of the Lanterns, while also introducing a new one called the Black Lantern Corps, and it introduces the White Lantern Corps. So this story is a lot of fun because it explores what the various characters would look like if they had the various lanterns on. It's basically where Hal Jordan, who's now a good guy in this, who, if you don't know, he was Parallax in the comic books. He was possessed by him, and he did a lot of villainous things, and he ended up trying to fight off the Parallax entity, and he ended up sacrificing himself, but he came back to life. And also, Barry Allen is back in the comic books, since Crisis on Infinite Earths, Barry was gone for a long time, and Wally was the Flash for a while. He still is. But Barry eventually came back, and so the two team up after a group of characters who are dead in the comics at the time are possessed by the Black Lanterns, and it's up to Hal to team up with various lanterns to find a way to stop them from literally turning the whole world into a Black Lantern tribe, which are basically just zombie versions of the characters. I kind of like this comic because, I don't know why I said it like that, but basically what I kind of like is, how the dead characters are possessed by the Black Lanterns, and because of the White Lanterns, they are able to get resurrected, so I like that concept, but it's honestly shocking to me with how many deaths are in this comic, and how many characters were dead at the time, since it's hard to keep up the lore, since I don't know what fully goes on in the comic book, since it's been years since this comic came out. DC has changed a lot since this new Earth, and then eventually became Earth Prime. But we see a bunch of characters as Black Lanterns. We see Superman get possessed, because apparently it works like if you're dead, then you get a Black Lantern. If you have died, it can work on you. Basically, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, they all have these Black Lantern rings. Also, Elongated Man, Sue Dibney, those two were basically dead in the comics for a long time, until I think they were brought back in the New 52, whatever you want to call it. But it's interesting how much history it is. They even have the rings go into cremated characters, and they basically just come back as zombies. So it's an interesting way to explore death in this universe. But what we also get is a Black Lantern Batman, because if you don't know, at the time, Batman was basically dead in the comics, but he wasn't actually dead. He was just sent through time, and apparently he was replaced by a clone after Darkseid killed him, and apparently that clone gets possessed, because at the end the characters do realize, spoilers, Bruce is alive, and it is because they recognize that the clone did not recognize them at all. But the more shocking deaths in this was the death of Hawkman and Hawkgirl. When I read that, I was like, whoa, they killed both of them off. They basically are attacked by the Black Lanterns, and apparently they get brutally murdered by them. And Hawkgirl doesn't come back, but we do get Shira Hall, who hasn't even shown up in the comics in a while, but she is in the DCAU, so that's quite interesting. But Hal gathers the various lanterns. We learn, we even have the characters say their oaths. We even meet the Indigo Lanterns. They're basically the Compassionate Corps. We also get Star Starfire. We get the Blue Lantern, Sinestro, Atrocitus, which is the Red Lanterns, and I forget the orange one's name. His name is Lyrith, I think his name is. Sorry if I got that name wrong, but they all come together, and like we get a bunch of pages of like various lanterns, armies of them. We see all the Green Lanterns who are the human ones: John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, even Alan Scott. My bad, lost my voice there. But yeah, they basically are able to combine their powers against the Black Lantern tribe, and they basically form the White Lantern after the Black ones find its main entity, but Sinestro possesses it, and he literally becomes a White Lantern, and he's able to resurrect the characters who were affected. But the other thing we do get in this comic is they basically, all the Lanterns basically trade their Lantern cores to various villains. Like we get and heroes. We get Ray Palmer as the Purple Lantern. We get Wonder Woman, who gets unpossessed by the Black Lantern ring. We get Barry Allen becomes the Blue Lantern. We get Mira, who's also in this. She becomes the Red Lantern. Lex Luthor gets the Orange Lantern Corps, which makes sense since, he craves power. And, of course, the Fear one goes to Scarecrow, which makes perfect sense. It's clear to me that the writers are just kind of having fun with this, having various characters have the various Lanterns Corps. But eventually they do defeat the Black Lantern Corps, and they're able to resurrect some of the characters, but not all of them, unfortunately. We get the resurrection of Martian Manhunter, Reverse Flash, Captain Boomerang, Aquaman, and I do like the scene where Mira and Aquaman do hug and reunite with each other, that was a nice scene. Even Deadman gets resurrected, even though he's supposed to be dead, which was quite interesting. And I think a bunch of other characters, but apparently this is what helped resurrect some of the main characters that were missing. And we also get Shire Hole, like I said. But basically it ends kind of on a cliffhanger where Hal and Barry are going to try to find out where Bruce is. But Bruce is trapped in time, and eventually he does come back in the comics. But yeah, so this was definitely a very nice story for sure. Like, I liked learning about the various, Lantern Corps. I think mine would be Compassion. I would definitely use that. So, I don't know, which Lantern Corps do you think you would be in? You can comment it below. So, I don't know what's the next comic book review I'm going to do. I'm going to maybe do a Daredevil comic since Daredevil Born Again is out. Since I'm literally talking about Daredevil in a DC review. So, I'd give Blackest Night probably a 10 out of 10 for sure. Some of the deaths were a bit shock value, but overall, I think this story was very good, very creative, and the artwork was amazing. These writers know what they're doing when they're telling the story of Green Lantern and the various other lanterns. It's meant to sell comic books, but that's what works. Various other Lantern Corps is a good idea, in my opinion. So, yes. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.